My mother died on a Tuesday. It was quiet, like everything else she did. No drama, no spectacle. Just didn't wake up. She left behind her house, her dog, and a sealed envelope with my name on it. The funeral was simple. My stepdad, Ray, gave a half-hearted eulogy. My half-sister Brielle cried the loudest, but everyone knew she was crying for the inheritance, not the woman. My brother Cal didn't even show up. No one was surprised. After the guests left, I sat alone in the living room and opened the envelope. It was a letter, in my mother's handwriting. If you're reading this, something has already gone wrong. What I'm about to say will change everything. Don't trust anyone, especially Ray. Start with the red box under my bed. I stared at those words, heart pounding. The house was quiet, too quiet. I got up, walked to her bedroom, and pulled out the red velvet box. Inside was a flash drive and an old, creased photo of a man I'd never seen before. Written on the back, in faded ink, "Your real father." The photo had me reeling, but the flash drive? That blew the floor out from under me. I didn't wait. I plugged it into my laptop right there on her bed. The folder was labeled Truth. No password. No encryption. Inside were 5 video files, each one recorded by my mom. Her voice was calm, but her eyes said otherwise, wide, tired, scared. If I'm gone, it means Ray got everything he wanted. But I need you to know the truth. That man in the photo is your biological father. His name is Daniel Price. We were together before I ever met Ray. She paused. Ray doesn't know. At least, I don't think he ever found out. But if he gets his hands on the will, he'll make sure none of you get what's rightfully yours. I slammed my laptop shut. This wasn't grief anymore. This was a warning. And as if on cue, I heard the front door open. Ray's voice drifted in from the hallway. "You still here?" I shoved the flash drive into my pocket and forced a smile as he walked into the room. But he wasn't alone. Behind him, a man in a suit, a lawyer, holding a second envelope. "This one's addressed to me," Ray said, grinning like he already knew what was inside. Ray ripped the envelope open like a kid at Christmas. The lawyer stood stiffly behind him, avoiding eye contact with me, which told me everything I needed to know before Ray even started reading. "I, Angela Weller, being of sound mind, hereby leave the entirety of my estate to my husband, Raymond Weller." My stomach dropped. "In the event of my passing, all assets, financial and physical, are to be transferred solely to him. No mention of me. No mention of my siblings. Not even the dog." Ray smiled, folded the letter slowly, and said, "Looks like she trusted me most after all." But I wasn't buying it. Because what my mother said in her video, it didn't match this at all. That will? It was planted, or manipulated, or replaced. I didn't know how yet, but my gut screamed it. And when I asked to see the original copy, Ray casually replied, "It burned with some of her things. You know how she liked candles. Bull Shastra's tea." The man was lying through his teeth, and the lawyer knew it too. He kept shifting, sweating, nodding along like a puppet. I needed to get out of that house and get answers fast. I grabbed the photo, the flash drive, and my keys, and left without a word. But as I pulled onto the street, my phone buzzed. Blocked number. One message. "He's lying. Meet me tomorrow. I know the truth about your mother. And your real father." The message gave a time and place. A cafe downtown. Noon. Back corner. I didn't sleep that night. Just kept playing my mother's videos over and over, trying to find some hint I'd missed. A word, a pause, anything. By noon the next day, I was at the cafe, hand shaking, heart pounding, the red photo in my coat pocket. She was already there when I walked in. Late 50s, dark glasses, a book she clearly wasn't reading. She looked up when I sat down. "You're Angela's son." I nodded. "You sent the message?" "Yes. And I don't have much time before he finds out I talked to you." "Who are you?" She pulled off her glasses. "My name is Marianne. I was your mother's best friend before Ray came into the picture. And I'm the one who helped her write her real will." My throat dried up. "What do you mean, real will?" Marianne leaned in, her voice low. Angela knew Ray was dangerous. She was planning to leave him everything only if he agreed to keep your real father's identity buried. But in the months before she passed, she changed her mind. She wanted the truth out. About Daniel. About the money. About what Ray did to your brother Cal that drove him away. That stopped me cold. "What did he do?" She opened her purse and slid over a folded document. "He forced Cal to sign away his inheritance 5 years ago, under threat." Before I could ask anything else, her phone buzzed. She checked it, blanched, and stood up. "I have to go." He's watching me again. But your mother left a second copy of her will. Where? I asked, standing too. But she was already walking out. She turned to me just before disappearing into the street and said, "Find the piano." She hid it there. My mom's upright piano had always been her most prized possession. She used to say it holds more secrets than sound. I thought it was just her being poetic. Now I knew better. The house was empty when I got there. Ray was at work. Brielle had classes. I had time, but not much. I ran my hands over the wood, listening for something that didn't sound right. A knock, a hollow thud, anything. Nothing. Then I remembered something else she always said when we were kids. If you want something to stay hidden, put it where everyone can see it. The bench. I lifted the cushion. Underneath was a wooden panel I'd never thought to touch. It popped loose. Inside, a sealed yellow envelope, marked in red ink. Executor copy, do not destroy. My pulse jumped. I slipped it into my jacket just as I heard the front door open. I didn't panic. I moved quickly, quietly. But when I turned around, Ray was standing at the hallway entrance. He looked at the piano, then at me, then at my jacket. "What are you doing?" he asked. I tried to smile. "Just playing a few chords. Needed to clear my head." He stepped forward. "Open your jacket." I didn't move. "Grant, open it." And just as he reached for me, my phone buzzed. A text from Brielle. "We need to talk. I saw Mom's video. Don't trust Ray. And don't trust Kel either." I managed to get past Ray with a lie about picking up dinner for both of us. He didn't believe me, not really, but he let me go. He must have known I had something. The envelope felt like it was burning through my coat. I met Brielle that night in a 24-hour diner off the freeway. She looked different, less polished, less bratty than usual. Her hair was tied back, no makeup, no performance. She slid into the booth and didn't say hello. "Where's the will?" she asked. "You first," I replied. "How'd you get the video?" She pulled out a phone and tapped the screen. "Mom emailed it to me the day she died. Scheduled." I didn't open it until yesterday. "What did it say?" She said Ray was lying. She said the will they're using isn't the one she signed. I nodded slowly. Then she added, "And that Cal knew." I froze. She said Cal helped Ray. That didn't make sense. Cal hated Ray. He left because of him. But Brielle looked dead serious. She said Ray bribed him years ago. Promised him a chunk of the estate if he went silent. Mom found out and cut them both out of the updated will. She said you were the only one she trusted. I felt my throat tighten. "I think Cal's back in town," she added. "Ray called someone this morning. He said he's coming to keep the boy quiet." I blinked. "The boy?" She met my eyes. "Grant, they're not just after the will. They know about Daniel. About your real dad. About what you really are to this family." I leaned back, pulse racing. "What am I?" She didn't answer. She looked past me. Her eyes went wide. "Grant, don't look now." But Cal just walked in. Cal hadn't changed. Same cold eyes. Same stiff walk. But there was something darker now, like the years away had hardened the edges my mother used to smooth. He slid into the booth across from me like this was a reunion. Like he hadn't disappeared 5 years ago without saying goodbye. "You found it, didn't you?" he said, nodding toward my coat. I said nothing. I told Ray it was only a matter of time. Brielle tensed beside me. "You helped him." Cal didn't look at her. He only looked at me. I protected what was left of us. I leaned forward. "Mom said you signed your inheritance away under threat. That he blackmailed you." His mouth twitched almost a smirk. "He didn't blackmail me. He offered me a deal. Take a payout, disappear, stay quiet." I did. And I've been living better ever since. I clenched my fists. "You sold her out. She was going to leave everything to you, Grant. Don't act like you wouldn't have done the same if you were in my position." "She trusted me," I said. "And you took that from her." Cal's jaw tensed. Then he looked at Brielle. "You think he's the golden child, but you don't even know what you are, do you?" She frowned. "What are you talking about?" He laughed, dry, bitter. "Neither of you are supposed to find out. But the real reason Mom changed the will?" He pulled out his phone and opened a file. A photo of an old DNA test. He turned it to us. Brielle's name was there. Mine too. And the words at the bottom? Siblings, no biological relation. Brielle stared at the screen like it was a joke. "It's fake," she whispered. "It has to be." But Cal shook his head, calm as a blade. "Mom did the test herself. She found out right before she got sick. And that's when she changed the will." Brielle looked at me like I'd grown horns. "We grew up together. We shared a room. We fought over Halloween candy. Don't tell me we're not. She's not lying, I said quietly. She turned toward me. I pulled the red photo from my coat pocket. The man, Daniel Price. On the back, your real father. I looked at her. We're not related, Bree. Not by blood. She went pale. Who is my dad? Cal answered before I could. Ray. He's your real father. That's why Mom never wanted you to know. Why he wanted the will destroyed. He knew if it came out, you'd hate them both. She sank into the booth, eyes glassy. And what about you? I asked Cal. He hesitated. I'm the only one who was actually her son. Legitimately. You? You were the secret. The one she carried for years. I felt sick. She trusted me with that truth. And now it had exploded into a mess none of us could walk away from. Cal leaned back and said, You've got the will, but it won't matter. Ray already filed the other one. Unless you make this really public, the courts won't touch it. I narrowed my eyes. And what if I do make it public? He shrugged. You better hope you survive the fallout. Then he stood and walked out like he hadn't just torn the ground out from under us. Brielle was shaking. I don't even know who I am, she whispered. I reached for her hand. But then my phone rang. Blocked number. Again. I picked up. A distorted voice whispered. If you release that will, someone else is going to die. I didn't sleep that night. Every sound outside felt loaded. Every knock, every car engine. I kept checking my locks. The flash drive. The will. Both were hidden in a safe I bolted to the floor of my closet, just in case. Brielle stayed over. She was silent. Barely spoke. Just kept scrolling through old photos of us as kids, like she could force her history to make sense again. The phone call haunted me. If you release that will, someone else is going to die. I didn't know if it was Ray, or Cal, or someone else, but it wasn't a bluff. I woke up to a missed call from Mary Ann, the woman who first told me about the second will. I tried calling back. No answer. I drove to her house. Police tape. Neighbors out front. A paramedic shook her head when I approached. Older woman. Home broken into. Nothing stolen. Is she? Gone. My stomach dropped. Gone. Just like that. I stepped back. The ground spun beneath me. This wasn't just a will. This was a war. And people were dying for it. Back in my car, I couldn't breathe. I unlocked the safe. Looked at the envelope. The flash drive. Mom's voice still echoing in my ears from the recordings. If something happens to Mary Ann, you're the last line. Finish what I couldn't. A car pulled up beside me. Brielle's voice on the phone. Where are you? Before I could answer, my passenger door opened. Ray slid into the seat beside me. Smiling. I think it's time we talked, son. He didn't look nervous. Ray sat there in my passenger seat like we were catching up over coffee. Calm. Comfortable. Like he hadn't just had a woman killed. You've had a busy week, he said. I didn't answer. You found the real will. You know who your father is. You even tracked down Mary Ann, which was stupid, by the way. I clenched the steering wheel. You did it. He laughed, actually laughed. You think I'd be dumb enough to do that myself? No. But I warned her years ago. If she opened her mouth, she'd regret it. She didn't believe me. You're threatening your dead wife's son now. I'm negotiating, he said, turning to me. You've always been smarter than Cal. That's why she liked you more. That's why she gave you the originals. He paused. But here's the deal, Grant. You burn that will, and I'll make you rich. Richer than Daniel Price ever could have. I stared at him. How do you know Daniel? He smirked. Because I was the one who got rid of him. My breath caught. What do you mean got rid of him? Ray leaned in. She wanted to leave me. Said she was going back to him. So I made sure he disappeared. You think people like him just vanish on their own? My vision blurred with rage. Ray didn't flinch. You have a choice, he said, placing a check on my dashboard. $200,000. Signed. Dated. You take that, walk away, and let the past stay buried. Or keep digging and find out who else ends up dead. He opened the door. 1 week. Then I come for what's mine. And with that, he was gone. I stared at the check. Then at the flash drive. Then at the envelope. And then at the photo of Daniel, my real father. It was time to find out exactly what Ray did to him. Daniel Price wasn't in any public records. No recent addresses. No job history. No death certificate. It was like he'd fallen off the map the moment my mother cut him out of her life, or was forced to. I started digging harder. I called an old friend of Mom's I remembered from years ago, Ms. Eunice, a retired nurse who used to visit for tea and always whispered like someone was listening. When I said Daniel's name, there was silence on the line. Then, come to the care home. But don't tell anyone. I drove out that night. An hour through winding back roads and foggy fields until I found the place, a quiet, private adult care facility behind a row of pine trees. She was waiting on the porch. She didn't say a word, just handed me a visitor's pass and motioned me inside. Room 207. I knocked. The man inside was thin, gray-haired, his eyes distant like he lived mostly in a different time. He looked at me, didn't speak. I stepped closer. Daniel. No reaction. I showed him the photo. His eyes shifted, just slightly. Do you know her? I asked. He blinked. Once. Twice. Then his hand moved. Slowly. Toward the drawer beside his bed. I opened it. Inside was a yellowing envelope. My name on the front. Shaking, I opened it. One line written in shaking script. Ray tried to kill me. He didn't finish the job. Behind me, Ms. Eunice whispered. He's been here 16 years. No one visits. No one asks questions. Until now. I turned to her. Why didn't Mom tell me he was alive? She was trying to protect him, but also you. Outside, I got into my car. 2 missed calls from Brielle. 1 voicemail. I played it. Grant, it's Ray. He knows you found Daniel. He's coming. Please hurry. I drove like hell to get back to the city. Daniel's note kept flashing through my head. Ray tried to kill me. He didn't finish the job. He would now, if I didn't stop him. Brielle wasn't answering anymore. Straight to voicemail. My stomach twisted with every mile. When I pulled up to her place, I knew something was wrong. The lights were off. Her car was still in the driveway. I ran up the steps, banging on the door. No answer. I kicked it open. Smoke hit me first. Not thick, but rising. The kitchen. Something small, intentional. A fire in the trash bin. Gas left running on the stove. I ran in, grabbed a towel, snuffed it out before it could spread. The entire place reeked of gasoline. Brielle. I yelled. Brielle. I found her in her room, tied at the wrists, duct tape across her mouth, eyes wide and terrified. She was alive. I ripped the tape off and she gasped, tears falling hard. He was here, Grant, she choked. He said if I didn't tell him where the will was, he'd make it look like an accident. He was going to burn you alive. She nodded, trembling. He thinks you're going to Daniel, that you're going to take this public. I stared at her. We are. She gripped my hand. I'm with you now. I don't care who my father is. Ray's a monster. I helped her to her feet. We didn't have much time. Ray was already unhinged. The next move had to be ours. I made one call. To Celia, my mom's old lawyer, now retired but sharp as ever. Are you ready to ruin Ray Weller? I asked. She paused, then said, send me the will. I'll schedule a press conference. Celia didn't waste time. She scheduled a public statement for Monday morning, under the guise of a legal seminar. Media outlets were already biting once they heard the words altered will, abuse of power, and inheritance fraud. We met her at her home office the night before, will in hand, flash drive loaded with videos of Mom's confessions, Daniel's note, and photographic proof of Ray's connection to the care facility. I'll make sure this isn't just public, Celia said. I'll make it unavoidable. Brielle and I stayed up all night preparing. We backed everything up, twice. We wrote statements. We rehearsed. We braced for what we knew was coming. Ray would explode. But we had to move first. The next morning, the crowd was small but growing. Local press. A few reporters. Curious onlookers. A couple of familiar faces from Mom's old community board. Celia stepped up to the podium with the kind of steel only 70 years of experience can give you. In my time as an attorney, I've seen dishonesty. I've seen betrayal. But rarely have I seen something so premeditated, so callous, so deliberate. She opened the envelope. This is the original will of Angela Weller, rescued before her passing, hidden in fear, and signed under full mental clarity. This will does not match the one filed by Raymond Weller. Gasps. Flashes. Reporters leaned forward. Celia continued. The truth was buried. But her son, her real son, refused to let her be silenced. She looked at me, then handed me the mic. I stepped up, told them everything. About Daniel. About the threats. About Marianne's death. About Brielle's near death. About the man Ray really was. The crowd was quiet, dead still, and then shouting. A commotion at the back. Ray. Pushing through the crowd. Screaming. Lies. All of it. Someone tried to stop him. He pulled a gun. Everything froze. And then a shot. The gunshot silenced the crowd. Screams echoed across the lawn. People dropped. Cameras crashed. And in the middle of it all, Ray stood shaking, the pistol still raised. But he hadn't shot me. Not yet. It was a warning. 1 second of chaos, just to remind everyone who he was. I took care of her, he shouted. I gave her everything. Celia stepped in front of me. She didn't flinch. And then you tried to burn her daughter alive. Threatened her son. And now this. Ray was breathing hard. Face red, veins in his neck bulging. He pointed the gun at me. You don't deserve any of this. She was mine. I stared at him, heart racing, but I didn't move. Because behind him, Brielle was stepping forward. Dad, she said quietly. He turned. And in that moment, she grabbed his arm and yanked it down. A security officer tackled him to the ground. The gun skidded across the concrete. Reporters swarmed as police arrived, sirens slicing through the tension. Ray screamed until they cuffed him. But no one was listening anymore. The headlines wrote themselves. Man arrested after inheritance scheme uncovered. Hidden will reveals family secrets, leads to violence. In the days that followed, everything changed. The court accepted Mom's original will. Ray was charged with attempted murder, fraud, and conspiracy. Brielle and I? We inherited the estate equally. Not because of blood, but because we chose each other when it mattered. We sold the house, donated a portion to the care home Daniel lived in, and finally moved on. I visit Daniel every Sunday now. He doesn't say much, but he always smiles when he sees me. And sometimes, when I'm alone, I listen to Mom's last recording, just to hear her voice again. If this reaches you, it means I'm gone. But know this, the truth will outlive the lies. And you were always my greatest legacy.